Hi, welcome to Distinti's World number 17. In this video, we're going to talk about the cost of car ownership and how to determine when it's time to get rid of your car, when it's a cost-effective time to get rid of your car. Now, the reason why I'm doing this is because I've been having car troubles. Well, not actually car troubles, but the car is requiring a lot of maintenance, and I'm spending a lot of time in dealerships getting it maintained, and it's starting to impact my time to do the work I need to do, and so it's time to switch out the car. That was my major, and the other reason is up in the mountains here, the mountain roads are, and the winter time is coming, the mountain roads are snowy and muddy. There's unpaved roads up here, and it's sometimes hard getting in and out, so I need a vehicle that's got all-wheel drive. This vehicle doesn't. Anyway, this car I called my Yak because it's a Pontiac. I purchased it the 1st of August 2007 for $22,312. The total cost with loan interest was $23,878, and I traded it in 18 August 18, 18 very interesting numbers, for a trade-in price of $1,500. The total cost then of just the purchase price, of the total cost purchase cost, this isn't a total cost including everything, this is just the total cost involving the price I paid for it, was $22,378. Okay, now what I've done is over these years, I'm an engineer, I keep lots of records, sometimes I keep too many records, but I kept all the maintenance records including state inspections. And that just adding up all of those receipts for maintenance, the cost for all the maintenance of this vehicle was $11,015. Now here's a little graph that plots, and I'm going to make the next page has a blow-up of the graph. Okay, and so these are just plotting the prices. I probably should have used points, but the red line is the moving average, and you can see that at 100,000 miles, this is miles and this is the dollars spent, and you can see the running average or the moving average just starts to take off after 100,000 miles. Now you might think, well, that's a good place to get rid of a car, and it might be true depending on what's going on. Let me show you some more analysis. So had I gotten rid of the car at about 101,000 miles, the total cost of all the maintenance would have been $2,300. But because I held it to another 54,000 miles, that cost me $11,000. Well, total. The difference here would be 11,000 minus 23. So it's $8,000 more maintenance here. So here it cost me $2,000. This one cost me another $8,000. So yeah, the price of maintenance started skyrocketing after 100,000 miles. But there might be another reason for that, and we're going to show you that in a second. Yeah, what wonderful timing you have. Come on, dude. Come over here. Come on. Oh, you're high maintenance too. Come here. Get out of the way. Okay. Thank you. So, because here's my driving, my odometer reading as time. This is the dates, and these odometer readings were taken from the maintenance records. Okay, the maintenance records are really all you really need to save for this analysis. And, because you're going to have periodic oil changes, so you're going to get a pretty good sampling of your odometer reading. And you can see this red line here represents the 100,000 mile line, which represents this point here where the maintenance started to take off, the maintenance costs, repair costs. And you can see leading up to that, I had started traveling at this point here, in this area here, I've been putting on 21,000 miles a year on the car. And as of the beginning of this year, I'm putting on about 30,000 miles a year with my going home every weekend now. Okay, before then, I wasn't really I was just using the car for simple trips to work when I worked in Connecticut, and my house was in Connecticut. And that's why I bought a simple car. A simple car with simple features. My commute wasn't that much, and I would go to my mountain home like every other weekend or something like that. So I didn't really put a lot of miles on the car. Once I shut down the Connecticut location and my job moved far away, then every odd weekend I would drive back to my home. Now I've got a special work schedule where I'm driving back to my home every weekend. And each week I'm putting 500 miles on the vehicle. So The reason for all this maintenance might be that I'm just really beating the living daylights out of the vehicle starting back here. But as we do the analysis, you'll see that won't really matter that much. But we'll get there. So the fuel, okay, my vehicle being a V6, it doesn't have spectacular gas mileage. Remember, when I purchased it, I wasn't thinking of doing long distance driving. I just needed a vehicle to get, 11-minute commute is all I purchased. Thought I was ever going to do with this vehicle. Okay, but now I'm doing long distance vehicle, and the car also has an interesting problem that if you put ethanol in the vehicle, it reduces its gas mileage. If you have pure gas with no ethanol, you can't actually achieve the rating of 33 mile in nice flat stretches of highway. But with my driving, the way I drive and my driving terrain, what I've been seeing on the fuel economy gauge is if I have 0% ethanol, I'm able to get 30 miles per gallon. And if there's 10% ethanol, the best I can do is like 26 miles a gallon. So I don't know what they're doing with this ethanol, but that's what this car does. And every car I've had before this pretty much follows the same phenomenon. So ethanol does not really help. It's actually hurting your gas mileage. It's probably heating up your engine too, because ethanol burns at a higher heat than gasoline, so you're basically just cooking your engine. So but if we were going to estimate fuel costs, we're just going to go by the average of 28 miles a gallon and an average of $3. I mean, over the years, we paid up to $4.50 a gallon, then all the way down to $2 a gallon. So I'm just going to use what it is now. It's about $3 a gallon. So going all the way to the end and just using, that means that would have cost me, assuming gas was $3 a gallon since the beginning, that my fuel cost would have been $16,500. Now, had I bailed when the major repair started at 100,000 miles, that would have cost me only $11,000 in fuel. So we're going to do this whole analysis. We're going to show the ending cost of where I took it all the way to the end, and the cost had I bailed before all the repairs started coming in. So in this next part, I'm going to show you the average cost to own. Okay, but these numbers that I'm going to show you do not include registration fees, does not include insurance, and it does not include property taxes. Like in the state I used to live in, Connecticut, they used to levy a property tax on your vehicles. And that property tax would get lower and lower as the vehicles depreciate. The place I live now, they don't levy a tax on your vehicles. So I'm not including any of this. Because that again, those things all are different in where you live. So that's, the part I'm showing you is going to be consistent from where you live, assuming you're in the United States. This whole analysis, it was done for a car purchased and used in the United States. So here's where it was. Going out here, at 11 years, 154,000 miles, the total cost of all the things we discussed was about $50,000. Divide that by 11 years, that's about $4,500 a year to own. Had I bailed on the car at 100,000 miles, which would have been at 9 years, the total would have been $36,000 or thereabouts, and the per year cost would have been about $4,000, about $500 or less per year, because I didn't start accruing all those high maintenance costs. But here's where the real numbers is not cost per time. Because if you just buy a car and put it in a garage and never drive it for 10 years, your cost per year is going to be quite low. But the true is your cost per mile. If you take your total cost divided by the miles driven, it actually turned out by holding the car, my per mile cost was actually cheaper than bailing on it before all the maintenance began. Now, what I forgot to include in all this, which is very important, is I didn't consider my time sitting in a dealership waiting for the car to be repaired. I didn't consider that. I didn't have to take records of that. I don't know what that is, but that's one of the reasons why I'm bailing on it, even though it's still cost effective to own. So let me keep on going. I'll talk about that in a minute. I don't know why this slide is here. So for best practice, for analyzing when it's time to get rid of a car, or when's a good time, how long to own a car, is to keep the detailed list of expenses. Now, I'm just going by the receipts from car repair maintenance and the piece of paper they give you when you get your car inspected. I should have done it and got the fuel costs over that time to see how fuel costs are going up or down, but that's just too much. I'm putting gas in it like every 2 times a week, and I just don't have time to be doing book entry on that when I got so many more important things to do. The time it takes me to go to the dealership for repairs, yeah, okay, those are the ones I'm dealing with. Okay, so it'd be interesting if somebody would do that, but I'm not going to do that, especially not for the next car coming up. Okay, then you should enter this stuff in an up-to-date spreadsheet that maintains the cost per mile. And here's an example of the spreadsheet I developed. These are from you probably can't read it up there, I'm sorry, I'll describe these to you. These are the entries from the maintenance records. This is the date that the car went into the garage, the mileage on the vehicle when it went in, the description of what the repairs are. I didn't enter all these. This was like G&J Pontiac, and this is another place that I get so these are all the names of the places I got it repaired. This is the cost on the receipt for the repairs, and this is like just notes. Okay, here's the running fuel based on mileage. This is the sum of the repairs. This is just the purchase price all the way down. I didn't take out the trade-in value because when you do this for real, you're not going to know what your trade-in value is until you get rid of the car. So just put your purchase price here. And then sum all these up, and then here divide by the total miles, which are over here. And then, as you can see, at 1,100 miles, this car costs $20.89 to own. As I start driving and driving, the per mile cost starts to diminish. And wouldn't you know, at about 120,000 miles, that's when it starts to flatten at about 33 to 35 cents a mile. So here's 100,000 miles right here. Okay, so now what this says to me is that because I was putting a lot of miles in on this car, in this area here, because I was putting a lot of miles in on the car, it was actually driving down the cost per mile cost. The part, like I said, I didn't account for was the amount of time spending in dealerships doing the repairs. That affected, I should have accounted for that, because that probably would have made me get rid of the car earlier. Because I didn't think about doing this until after I decided to do this analysis to make an assumption on the new car. Okay, so my next experiment with the new car, because I know now, because the old car, when I purchased it, I didn't think I was going to be putting more than 10 miles a day on it to work and back. With the new car, since I know I'm going to be putting about 30,000 miles a year on the new vehicle, based on this analysis, okay, I'm prepaying for the maintenance and prepaying for an unlimited warranty, and I'm taking the gamble that that's going to become cost effective. And again, though, I forgot to account for the time spent in the dealership. I probably just would have bought the 120,000 mile warranty, but for $1,000 more, I bought the unlimited warranty, which goes forever and ever and ever until I sell the car. So if you're interested in that, let me know, and I'll make a video on what the new vehicle is, why I chose it, and why the analysis came out that I should go for the unlimited warranty on it and hold the car at least to 250,000 miles. That's my gamble. We'll see how that works out. Hopefully it doesn't get into a lot of repairs like the other one did, and it just, I'm not spending too much time in dealerships. But the good thing is this dealer is on my way home from work, and so I'm on my way home, and it's a simple drive-in repair place. The other place I had to drive out of the way to get to, so it wasn't very, So anyway, if this helped you, please help us. Share, thumbs up, subscribe, the usual 3 you hear from everybody. And if you want, become a Patreon member at etherealmechanics.com. Thank you very much. And thanks for my Patreon members for being patient. I know I've been dealing with this car issue, and I got the new vehicle, and hopefully now I can get back onto a good video production schedule. Thank you.